Today we have Dr. Sean Stringer, holistic practitioner. Dr. Sean, I'm so excited to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
So if you could just tell us a little bit about you, your credentials, what you're doing, how you got there.
Okay, so I'm originally a chiropractor, but I retired back in 2015. I practiced functional medicine for over 20 years and lifestyle medicine as well. I have doctorates in indigenous medicine, monastic medicine, master's in naturopathic oncology. I'm a certified tribal healer. I'm an ordained minister, a life coach. So I do a lot of things because it's really a whole approach when I work with people.
Correct. So what led you to this whole journey? Because honestly, you're doing a lot of different things.
So I was interested in functional medicine 10 years before it even became known as functional medicine. Right. Some of the nutrition gurus that, like Jeffrey Bland, that were the founders of functional medicine, I was following them. I was actually in a lot of their seminars. And then about 2003, my first wife, Joyce, was diagnosed with cancer, and you knew Joyce. Mm-hmm. And by the time we found it was stage 4 colorectal cancer. And I was with Joyce during that whole time. She did some natural, she did some traditional treatments, but eventually traditional treatments led to her demise. And lost her in 2007. I knew I always wanted to work with cancer patients after that. And so I started learning more about functional medicine, some functional neurology, some other things. And then I found out that if I was an ordained minister, I could actually do more with people. And so I got these other doctorates, became ordained, turned in my chiropractic license because I couldn't practice under that,
right,
doing what I wanted to do to work with people. And then that's where I am here today. It's just really trying to help people by educating, inspiring, and empowering them to be the best versions of themselves.
That's incredible. So can you share with our listeners what holistic cancer therapy is and how that differs from regular medical care?
Okay, so traditional medical care is either cut it, burn it, or chemical it out of the body.
Right.
Okay. Cancer is just merely a symptom. Just like a fever, a cough, that's all it is. It just means things are really messed up.
Right.
Because health is really about balance. The more in balance you are, the healthier you are. The more out of balance you are, the sicker you are. So with the holistic approach that I take is about finding the fundamental, the foundational things that are really throwing people's health off and trying to restore the balance so that their body can do what God meant it to do and heal itself.
So how does inflammation play a role in cancer?
So you have stress and dietary things that we do over time. We're exposed to all these chemicals, so all these things come together and they cause inflammation. Inflammation is just the body's ability to adapt to your immune system's response to injury or infection. Right. When you summarize it down, that's all it is. And so over time, we add these stressors to our life, and on the short term, stress can be good because it allows us to grow and get stronger. But on the long term, chronic stress is what causes disease. And so it could be physical, mental, emotional. All those things lead to more inflammation overall because you're just stressing the immune system out. It doesn't know what to do, so it's just trying to respond how it can to try to correct things.
Right. So in your practice, what does it look like if somebody calls you? What is the protocol? What are you looking for? Evaluation?
So generally when people call me, I have them join because right now I have a church ministry. Mm-hmm. And my church ministry is healing people, helping heal people. And so I don't do the healing, their body does the healing. I'm just there to guide them along the way. So right now people come, they call me, we have a discussion. I want to see if we're going to be a good fit for each other. Right. If we're not, I'm going to refer them to somebody that's going to be a better fit for them and what they need. And then from there, as they become a member, then we start working with each other. A lot of times when they come in, I'll get a general idea of what's going on with them. and then try to figure out like, okay, what fundamental things do we need to really fix
Right.
and make those changes that's going to actually optimize their health. I'm all about small hinges, swing big doors. The littlest things that make the greatest improvement overall is what I'm looking for. And so helping them with. And if we can do those things and then keep them on adding them up, then we're going to have massive changes that are going to help their health.
Right, and just like everybody's individual, so I'm sure it looks very different from person to person and case to case.
I've never had two people have the same protocols in that. We may start with a certain base protocol,
Right.
but everything's tweaked from there, from what people need. And like when I'm working with cancer patients or anybody with a chronic illness, essentially they all have an underlying emotional, mental problems.
Right.
That is kind of like the groundwork on which the poor choices of their lifestyle planted the seeds and which things happened. So that disease, that cancer, whatever happened, there's really a mental, emotional foundation that needs to be first addressed before we go on to anything else.
So I love it. You're not just looking at the physicality of everything. You're really pulling in all these other things.
Oh, I'm looking at helping them reprogram their subconscious mind,
Right.
Working on their spiritual things, their energetic things, looking at maybe some things that are ancestral from other generations that's still affecting them, because they found in just mice, so they took a mice and unfortunately put the mouse in water, let it swim so much that it ended up dying from stress. Well, when they exposed their offspring to water, they had the same fear.
Isn't that incredible?
Of water since their parent actually died. And they found out that goes 8 to 13 generations. And it's just innate. It's something in genetics that's entrained in them that carries on generational, even if it happened currently in this lifetime. So
Wow.
I believe that happens with people too. And I think we need to sometimes address those things. And then that'll be one of the root causes that might be causing some of these issues.
That's incredible. It's like a generational curse
Yes.
that you're actually seeing on many different levels.
Yes.
And that it goes back. That's incredible.
Yeah. So help people find those things, discover what those are, help them reprogram themselves for those, and we eliminate those and then give them new programming to kind of fill that void, so that'll be proactive for them in generations to come.
So how does inflammation play a role in development of cancer?
Okay, so you have this stressor
Okay.
that caused a problem. You get this chronic inflammation that occurs in the body. And so now you have an environment that's really inhospitable to healthy cells. So what's the body do? Cells start changing and morphing. No two cancer cells are alike because they're trying to adapt and overcome their environment. They're really kind of like almost like a Marine Corps motto.
Right.
It's like adapt and overcome kind of thing. So that's what they're doing. It's just your body's trying to adapt and overcome and survive. And so if you can set those conditions right, what is it going to do? It's going to either those cells are now going to return on their programming for cell death because they recognize something's wrong,
Right.
or the immune system's going to take care of them. So they can even reverse too. There's cancer cells that can reverse back to normal again. But you don't hear about that stuff because the medical community is in the business of making money.
Which is so sad. I mean, to me, this sounds very much like autoimmune too. It sounds like these both would be a similar situation in what you're doing.
I consider cancer really an autoimmune
Right.
condition. And so I treat them identical in that aspect. Like I look at them as that aspect. One part of the immune system's down, lowered, and the other one's super hyped up.
Right.
And so we have to get that. Now, when you're looking at conventional medicine, what are they going to do? They're going to hit it with a chemical or burn it or cut it out. But with the chemicals, like chemotherapy, they're trying to knock down everything that's rapidly dividing
Right.
cells. Unfortunately, your immune cells are some of your most rapidly dividing cells in your body. So they're knocking everything down, hoping to reset it. Now, conventional cancer therapy really only has a 3.1% success rate in the United States and only has a 3% in Australia when done in studies. So it's not that good.
No.
It's not that good at all. But they say, well, here, you have your 5-year survival rate. There's a reason they don't give you a 6. There's a reason they don't give you a 10. Early detection's gotten better,
right.
So even though that survival rate's still here, they might have just moved the goalpost a little bit closer, but still, people are going to generally die at this point if they do what's conventional. I have no problem talking about this too. A lot of people think this is taboo, but this is things that people need to hear.
Well, people really do need to hear. I think a lot of people are really waking up about how our system here in the United States is very money motivated.
Yeah. It's great for acute.
True, I agree. Trauma, wonderful, incredible.
Yeah. Trust me, I had a heart attack a couple years ago from stress. But my labs looked so much better. Everybody that walked in the room going, your labs are incredible. But why are you here? And I was like, stress. Like, I have had a lot of stress in my life, and it just, over time, it just added up. And that's still something I work on myself, is trying to minimize the stress. And I have a little bit of this always giving, and not really looking at myself so much. And that's one thing I have to work out. So I tell people, like, you need to be self-ish, like, look at yourself first and treat yourself first. Especially since I had that heart attack, is I wasn't doing that. I was still giving to others and not looking for myself as much.
Yeah, and I feel like us as healers, I mean, we both chose these similar professions, and that's what we do. We're really good at helping people, but that's something I'm now learning.
Yeah.
And even I look at it as almost when you're on an airplane and ready to take off, and they're going through this whole little thing, and they're talking about if you and a child, and it's like, wait, you're going to put the mask on me before I put the mask on you?
Yeah.
But,
and that's what I'm teaching people now. Like, I didn't do it.
Right.
This is what could happen. I was technically dead for 30 seconds. So I had to learn to put on my own oxygen mask. That's what I'm doing now.
Right.
I've worked on it. I'm making it a habit, and I'm making the habits necessary to lower my stress so I can see my children and my children's children grow.
And so you can set good examples so they learn from you as to how to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And that's probably the biggest thing I'm doing it for, is them to learn the proper things to do in the long run.
So I totally agree that lifestyle modification, paying attention to your own life, being aware of your stressors is huge. And it can impact health in so many levels, not even just cancer. I mean, everything.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other holistic perspectives or holistic things you're doing to help these patients with cancer?
Okay, like I said, it's reprogramming.
Right.
The body. The first thing you have to do has to do with the physical, emotional. You got to clear that out. And then it's about switching people's mindset. Okay. How do you change things the most ways? Well, Tony Robbins taught 3 things. You got to change your physicality to it. That's one thing, one way of changing it. You got to change the meaning you give to something, and you got to change the focus. So I get people to stop focusing on the cancer. I had a program that was called Life, Not Cancer.
Okay.
Because I'm teaching people it's all about life and living.
Right.
What you resist persists. So if you're resisting the cancer, you put your focus on the cancer, then what are you going to get back? It's going to come back.
Right.
That's metastasis.
Right.
Essentially, that's one of the things that leads to metastasis. People are getting that. When you have a fight, what is there always? When you see fight boxers, they always have a rematch.
Right.
Okay? There's a battle and a war. There's another battle. There's unresolved issues. So if we can change that focus to living, then that's a big thing.
So, I mean, with something like this, I mean, obviously this can apply to every bit of your life with any problem. I mean, just refocusing and looking at it different, looking at it more positively. When somebody comes in with it, I mean, how many treatments, if we're just talking specifically the mindset? I'm assuming it varies from patient to patient?
It does. I generally go in the first one kind of hard because I want to know we try to figure out what the main issue was.
Right.
That was the breeding ground. And then from there, it's just I add a little bit of things as we go along, just because I don't want to overwhelm them with getting them on their mindset correctly. So it's about changing their language.
Right.
And giving it a different meaning. I don't look at cancer as a bad thing. I think of it as, just like I said, it's a symptom. It's just telling you something's wrong. I don't look at it as, no longer, not that I didn't do it at one time.
Right.
It was like everybody else, like, oh no, this is horrible, thing. I look at it differently now. And if I can help If I could change my perspective, I think anybody can change their perspective to it.
And I'm curious, like, I mean, I'm sure it varies also from person to person, but what percentage would you say, if you could give a loose percentage of, you were talking some with cancer, is just a mindset change going to shift the whole thing?
Oh, I would say nearly 100% of people.
Really?
Yeah. Just changing your mindset on that.
Right.
So in my first year and a half in practice, in chiropractic, I met 3 people with pancreatic cancer. Now, when you meet people with pancreatic cancer, how long do they have to live generally?
Typically not many months.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of times, if it's advanced, they only have a few months to live.
Right.
They say the survival rate is 0 at 5 years out. I met 3 people that were 17, 18, and 19
Really?
years.
Okay.
Post, I have a week or 2 left to live. What was the one thing that I discovered with all of them? Mindset.
That's incredible.
The one commonality that they had, because I asked them, I was just curious at the time, I'm like, you're supposed to be dead. Nobody survives pancreatic cancer, you know, especially at 5 years, but you're 17, and I just met that guy at 19 and that lady at 18. And then I, just talking to them, I found out it was their mindset. They just were gonna live and live the best life possible. I don't think it's ever too late with people. Unless you're buried on the ground 6 feet or you're sprinkled on top of it, I never think it's too late for people. So if you can change it, I know you can do it. Now, I had a lady come in to me one time and looking for my help. She wanted somebody to coach her along the process because she didn't want to do conventional. She felt uneasy with it. And that's one thing I have to tell to everybody is don't let them pressure you or scare you.
Right.
Because that is a big tactic they will use and try to push you in to what they know and the system they know. Take your time back.
Right.
I call it a tactical pause. Take your time back, step back, deep breath in, and start thinking. And then explore your options. Nothing's going to kill you overnight. None of this is going to really kill you overnight. So you have a little time. This has been going on for at least 10 years.
Right.
To get to the stage that it is now, before you started expressing symptoms, you're looking at about a 10-year, give or take 2 years in there. But most of the time, it's about 10 years. So a few extra days or a few extra weeks is not going to be detrimental to you. So if you can step back, take that pause, oversee things, go with your gut feeling on what's best for you. I tell some people, go with your gut feeling. After we meet, if you don't feel I'm the right fit or you want a referral to somebody else, let me know. I'll send you to some people that might be better fits for you. But I also have to have that gut feeling because that's what's right for you.
True.
Not for me, for you. And don't let anybody pressure you. Don't let family members, friends, medical community, whether they're conventional or unconventional or alternative, don't let anybody pressure you into something. You got to know what's right for you and what feels right for you. That's the big thing. So to get back to this lady, she came to me. She said, they told me I have 3 months to live. I have stage 4 terminal liver cancer. Now, she was a mindset coach too, but she forgot a lot of the things that she used to teach other people.
Right.
You know, hers was called A Course in Miracles. And that, so she was a master instructor for A Course in Miracles, which really teaches people mindset and things like that and how to improve their lives. And so she came in. The first thing we did is, it took about 2 hours, but to get her back into what she knows and like, yeah, you're right. I haven't been doing my own stuff. The stuff I teach people, I'm not doing. So we got her into that mindset. And then we just started working with her on her lifestyle, her diet, and a few other things. And now it's probably 9-10 years.
That's incredible.
She's living, still she's thriving. The body walled it off because one of the questions I asked her, I said, can you live with this rather than die from it? Even if it's there and the body could manage it the whole time.
Right.
Do you mind, would it be better if you died of natural causes or just old age? And you still had it in there, but it wasn't causing any problems? She's like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, okay, good. Well, her body ended up walling it off in her liver and decreased the size of it.
Correct.
Then walled it off. There's a calcium deposit all around it. And she's thriving today. Once in a while, I'll check in with her. Every year or two, I'll check in with her and say, hey, how you doing? And she's like, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for all your help.
That's incredible. I think, like you're saying, it's your journey. You decide what you want to do. Obviously, I think in the United States, a lot of times things are scare care, which is a horrible, horrible situation. What are things that people, because I know people can meet with somebody like you, but what are things that people can do immediately? I mean, obviously it's changing mindset, but what things what mantras, what things should they be changing or doing?
Okay, so let's go down to foundational things.
Right.
I think everybody should go out first thing in the morning and walk out in the sun, nothing covering their eyes, no sunglasses, and really start getting their circadian clocks or their internal clocks of the body reset. And so the sunlight, when it hit, one of our main clocks has to do with sunlight. Right. So when that hits the eye, the sunlight hits the eye, it's going to start redoing the clocks and make that a habit every day. I'd also go out in the grass and bare feet and do what's called grounding or earthing, because then we're absorbing electrons through our skin from the earth, and it's giving more energy to our mitochondria and to our cells. Two things you can do that are absolutely free.
True.
Okay. Work on your food and cleaning up your diet. Get off anything processed, anything manufactured. If it's not a whole food, generally on the outside of the grocery store,
right?
You should get rid of it. I would rather you buy it from a farmer's market or a local farmer where they don't use any pesticides and junk on it.
Right.
And then it's coming really close and it isn't degrading through thousands of miles of travel. Plus, when they say something's organic, doesn't mean they don't spray it on the ships.
Doesn't mean they didn't spray it next door and it came over from the farm next door.
And that's too. So I would find like an
Right.
organic farmer or organic rancher or somebody like that you could go to and get stuff like that. I'd really clean up my water.
Definitely.
As well. Start getting some fitness or exercise in, even if it's just walking a couple miles a day, but get something going. Parking the car at the end of the parking lot and walking up to the store. Just little things that can make the biggest changes. Besides that, I'd get somebody to coach me along the way, help me with my mindset. Really work on my sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, at least 5 hours of that being uninterrupted. Because sleep is when our body heals and processes our emotions through the day. Sleep is probably one of the most important things. Probably, I'd say almost more important than diet on things. Trying to think what else would be. Those are probably the mainstays. There's some other things there too. Oh, detox. So you have to detox. Not only like eating right and detoxing from there, sometimes you'll have to go through some herbs or other things or fasting to detox. But you also have to detox from people. There are people that are major stressors in your life. You love them, but you need to start loving them from a distance. And that's a big thing I let everybody know from the get-go. And I even tell the family members, I try to pick out who it is. Because when I work with people, I ask that the family come with them, the caregivers come too.
The whole dynamic.
Yeah, because I want to pick out who in the room's the toxic person or toxic people in the room.
Right.
And tell them, I'll walk them to the side. Generally, that's the second visit. I like them come in the first and second visit. But on the second visit, I give the caregivers a way of handling stuff. Because I know I did a lot of things wrong when I was a caregiver.
Right.
And I have a passion for caregivers. So telling them what things to do right, but then I'm also trying to judge who shouldn't be there or who needs to step back. And then giving them instructions on how to best be with the family member that's ill. Try to best be with them and give them a better chance of doing well and healing up.
Right. And toxic doesn't necessarily mean somebody that's had this crazy lifestyle and done crazy things. It just could be somebody that's overbearing constantly or getting in the way constantly or just adding stress.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Exactly.
How are you feeling?
Right.
Like that. I mean, I could have punched so many people when I was going through it.
Right.
Literally, I was thinking no, I need to.
They mean well.
I know they mean well, but man, I need to step back here. And then some of them, I just made sure we made slow moves away from them. I have no problem with being the bad guy in that situation and telling them you need to stay back.
Right.
I know you love them, check in with them, but you need to stay back because you're too stressful for them. I can see it. on them, and just stay back for now. You're going to do them more good than anything if you do that for now. Doesn't mean you guys can't get together later on. You just, now this time while they're trying to heal and work on themselves, this is a time to step back.
Yeah, it's too much. So in your practice, you're really incorporating all of these different things.
Try to incorporate as much as possible. And if not, I know who to refer to. Because sometimes it gets too much for me. I'm just like, oh, I need to send you off to this person for this. Because I think they'll be a better fit for you. And sometimes it's a better fit for me that I need them to step back too.
Right. Or even in my practice, just like you've done. I mean, there's sometimes I've had people come in and it's really just, like you said, a conversation to see if that's even a good fit from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming with what you're doing too, this is something you can be doing from afar. It's not necessarily all in person.
Oh yeah, I work with a lot of people from afar. People from the other side of the world. I think Thailand's the furthest away.
Wow, I can't say that.
Yeah. But it's incredible. I mean, we have Zoom, we have phone calls that we can do. We can Google lines. I can always start a Google number for their country and make it closer to them. It's not a problem. We can make it work somehow.
Right.
But Zoom seems to be like the easiest, or something like Zoom is the easiest way to get things done these days.
Right. Well, I know you're well versed in stem cell therapy, so I'm just curious how you feel this plays in with cancer, how this plays in general with patients. What do you know about it?
So with stem cells, I like stem cells. I don't think they're right for everybody, but yeah, they're good. If you've put yourself under enough stress for long enough, you don't have enough lumber to build the house.
Correct.
So you have to have more stem cells there. You might need that little bit of push to start the body back to where it is again. You know, stem cells are great building blocks, and I really see now that I've even experienced myself, I see it being a good foundational thing for a lot of people dealing with cancer. And that I don't think. So the people say, well, there's cancer stem cells. Yeah, they're cancer stem cells, but those cancer stem cells are because you still have pardon my language, a shitty environment in your body. And so they're trying to adapt in that. So yes, you'll have cancer stem cells. A lot of people don't realize by the time a tumor is like the size of a pinhead, it's already about 1 million cells. And it's already metastasized. They won't tell you that in the medical community.
Right.
That's as big as it needs to get to start throwing off cancer cells to other parts of the body, because they're looking for weakened areas to set up where they can multiply as much as possible to try to save you, but and stay away from the immune system as much as possible, because that's all they know. And so if we can set conditions right, we can get those, I think the stem cells you do go to healthy tissues.
Right.
Then if you keep on keeping conditions wrong, then you'll have cancer stem cells. So it's just a matter of what you're going to do. Do I think people with cancer can do stem cells? Yes, absolutely. Because I don't think it's going to make a difference in their tumor. I think it's only going to boost their immune system.
Right. And for me, I think the only contraindication for me with our practice right now is, and I'm not a big proponent of chemotherapy as well, but if somebody chooses to go down that road, to give them stem cells and chemo at the same time is not, it's a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time.
Be destroyed.
Yeah. You got to be off that stuff and be off of it for a little bit at a time.
Just curious, if patients are coming to you, what new emergent trends or buzzwords or things that people are talking about in the cancer space?
So in the conventional aspect, I'll start with that first. You still hear them talk a lot about genetics. Well, research is really proving cancer is a metabolic disease. It's not a genetic disease. Your genes in DNA is just a blueprint for that. It's like a dimmer switch. You can turn them up, you can turn them down. They're always on. It's just a matter of what's turning them on, if they're expressing something more or less at that time. Then you see gene therapy. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're doing gene therapy or immunotherapy, or it's the same thing. Like, you have one part of your immune system that's hyped up and one's depressed. So we're going to try to bring this up, but when you bring this up, you're going to bring this down.
Correct.
Too. So they're trying to, how do I want to put this? They're trying to artificially push things when all it needs to do is be balanced on its own. And a lot of times that, like I said, they try to knock everything down hoping that it'll reset, but it's just not going to work. and overall it's not going to work the way they're doing. It's a metabolic disease, okay? And so change it with the lifestyle, dietary changes, mindset. Those are the big things that are really going to do it. Can you do other things? Yeah, like one thing I forgot to mention earlier is I like oxygen, high amounts of oxygen. Some people might do hyperbaric. There's a device I like to use with people that's not that expensive, maybe a couple $1,000s to do. It delivers 24 times the oxygen in only 15 minutes of a hyperbaric chamber.
Really?
And it's something that on a short term, it supplies oxygen, which is one of the main energy sources to your cells,
Right.
to all the healthy cells. To cancer cells, which are generally anaerobic, it acts as a chemotherapy. That's a natural. So because they've gotten weakened cell membranes, it'll actually cause them to explode, some of them to explode. So that's another thing that I think is good too. On the alternative side, I mean, people will try to look for different herbs and things like that, or supplements, or try to change those as well, or use those as adjuncts too. They're not right for everybody. Everybody has to be tested to see what's right for them. I've only lost, I would say, 2 patients over the last 14 years.
That's incredible, Sean.
Okay. One was a pancreatic cancer patient. But I don't think anything I did was wrong. She was she was in a toxic relationship, and the guy was looking at Dr. Google, doing all these things, which her body couldn't handle. And I told her, your body can't handle this. It may be able to handle that therapy later, but right now, your body's stressed out by this. And if you do too many things, it'll stress the body out, even if they're good things. And that's the thing people need to know. Doing too much of a good thing can still be stressful on the body, no matter what we do. Every time we eat, it's a stressor on the body. So you just you got to know what the limits of the body is, what the body wants right now, in order to optimize health and repair. And so it's about finding that balance for what they can handle. And I see a lot of the nutritional industry making artificial things. They're not natural.
Right.
We are what we eat. We are what we ate. Yeah. We are what we absorb. Right. We are what we digest. And what is actually bioavailable, what the body wants. We are all those things. But people only look like, oh, we are what we eat. Well, people are taking a lot of crappy supplements out there, which are stressing the body out. And, they lead to a lot of symptoms, and they're not good. They can throw things off even worse. So it's about doing the right things to find that balance so everything can be restored. Right.
I always tell people, let food be thy medicine. The closer it is to food, the best it is.
I actually have a poster of that in my office.
I should put that up in my office. So you've mentioned mindset, how important mindset is, reducing stress, dietary changes, lifestyle. Are there any resources people can find, any reading or other resources people can use just to learn a little bit more?
Well, I think it's funny because one I'm actually going through right now. It's called Mind Hacking Happiness.
Okay.
I don't recall the author's name right now, but that's a great book. There's 2. I think he's got 2 volumes right now. I'm actually at the end of the 2nd volume, but that would be a great thing because that just teaches you how to change your mindset in order to live a better, happier life. Other things, they can do searches on fasting. Okay. I would say fasting is fantastic for anybody with cancer because the process of autophagy, or the cells eating the bad parts away, is in there. So I look into autophagy and looking into fasting as healing for cancer. You have to be careful with that because if you don't have the right set of minerals or you're not strong enough, you can make things worse with that. I'd look into cleaning up your water. So I'd look into various resources in that, finding out what would be best for water-wise. Trying to think, like one of my mentors is Dr. Kevin Connors in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I mean, he has a lot of good stuff too. We don't quite see eye to eye on some issues, but still he does a lot of great work. He would be one person I would go to. If you don't come to me, go to him.
Right.
He's probably the one person I refer to most as might be a better fit for. I would look into, really that stuff, grounding, knowing more about grounding, sunning, going out in the sun. We have to have the sunshine hitting our skin to convert cholesterol into vitamin D.
Right.
Vitamin D is something that we make with our bodies. It's one of the big things that boosts everything in the body, essentially. It's a pro-hormone. It's not really a vitamin, but it's a hormone. And so I would do that and look into sun gazing in the morning, looking at the sun to reset your circadian clocks, getting Why We Sleep by Matthew, I forget his last name. University of California, I think. Matthew, I can't remember, but there's a book, Why We Sleep.
Okay, and later on we can add that too.
Okay.
I can place that somewhere.
But that would be a fantastic source because that really goes into the science behind sleep. He makes it really simplistic, really good. I'm all about making things that will simplistic for people that they can make the changes that they need to do.
Right.
And when it comes to mindset and reprogramming yourself, one of my mentors is Arno, Arnoux, Goran, Goran. He has some fantastic things too. But I would look into those people as well and maybe take some of Arno's seminars.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. That's a lot. That's
Thank
more
you.
than I expected. So if patients or potential patients are interested in hearing about you or learning more from you, how could they contact you?
They can call me on the phone
Okay.
or text me, 941-328-8440.
Okay.
Or they can go to SeanStringer.com. That's SEAN, the real way to spell Sean. Stringer, STRINGER.com.
Wonderful. Sean, or Dr. Sean, I'm so thrilled that you joined us today. I've learned so much, and I appreciate it.
You can always call me Sean.
All right,
we've known each other for 24
I know, I'm trying
years.
to be professional right now. And I actually look forward to having you back because I really feel we could talk about so many other things.
Love
Thank
to be
you.
here.
Thank you.
Thanks.